going on, people? It's Mr. Doe back again with another podcast. I hope everyone's fit and well. And I've been away, people. I do apologize. I've just been working a lot, daddy duties, but we're back. Football is back. International football is over at last. People, put in the comments how happy to be back. Premier League football. Let's be positive today. I know 4 defeats in a row, but it's good to have the Premier League back. If you are new to the channel, please do hit the like button, subscribe if you know, and comment below, people, what do you want to talk about today. There's quite a lot that we are going to talk about. Like I said, it's about Cooper, the Leicester game, anything that you want to talk about, put it in the comment section. And like I said, people, if you're new to the channel, please do hit the subscribe button. I'm trying to get to 10K before the end of the year. Right, let's get the guests in. As you know, the reason why we're late, I'm going in on him already. Like, as you know, he just done a show. The man himself, Mr. Des, do daily. Des, what do you call this?
What time do you call this?
I'm here.
This
is the problem, people. Like I said, Des has just done his show. Make sure everyone subscribes to Des. It's this London Marathon. He's just done a show about the London Marathon. Des, tell everyone how to subscribe to your channel, man.
Just search Do Daily as it's spelled there. It'll be absolutely fantastic. Just try and create some positivity and enthusiasm. 2 words I always use around the things I do. It's not full-on mental health. It's just me saying how I get through things. Sometimes I'm not good, and I'll be honest and open, and it just shows that we all have our ups and downs. And that's all I'm trying to do, just be positive. I do like running. Don't mention the London Marathon, so there's bits of encouragement to do activity and things like that, but it's nothing preaching, nothing to be scared of. Just 5-10 minutes most days, just saying how I am and get involved. It'd be amazing if you could subscribe.
People, go on if you do a massive favor for me, and like I say, it works hard, like I work hard on our channels. Make sure you do subscribe to Mr. Do Daily. Next up, we've got the man himself. We've got James. How you doing, James?
I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for letting me on.
No worries, man.
Been a while.
You've got to come on. Like I said, James is a member as well, people. So if you can, like Des, the next one's not a member, so I'm going to go in on him in a minute. People, if you want to be a member as well, it costs £2.99 and get as much channel content as well from the channel. So £2.99 help a lot. So last but not least, and this guy, like I've had enough of him already. He's not English. So sometimes I do say people go at Des, but this time people get at Jay because he's not English. As you know, he's got the Welsh hat on him. Jay,
bring it on. Bring it on, I say. I'm going to get a membership.
What are you doing? Why are you going to Wales games?
Because it's wicked, mate. Honestly, the atmosphere is awesome.
It's English. Listen to me. David Johnson and Allison, you just not let this kid go to a Wales game no more because they lost. Blame Jay for this. All Jay's fault. But
They're making a legend here, Dor. I'm telling you.
As you know, people, it's Jay. He's got his own YouTube channel as well called Medium Man. Jay, just do a little subscribe to your channel.
Yeah, so I do streaming. I'm doing a couple of podcasts coming up as well soon, just all about Forest kind of stuff. Hopefully bringing you some like little match day stuff as well, maybe in the future. Just little snippets of the stadium and stuff and the different stadium tours. But other than that, that's basically my channel in a nutshell. So yeah, Media Man.
That's
Appreciate
it.
you.
No more. Make sure no one subscribes to Jay because I've had enough of him already. Right, before we do the comment, I'm going to go through the comments as well. We've got WizKid. Hello. We've got from Sunny. Evening, lads. We've got the man himself, Mark. Evening, you Reds. Mark, can you DM me? I need to get you on my show because, like I said, you are a member. So, Mark, if you can, DM me so I can get you on the show. Another one, Mark. Evening. Andrew. Good evening, chaps. How you doing, Andrew? The man himself, Kieran. Evening, DoreOnTour. Evening, Des. I see a little rant from Price fans on Twitter. Oh, we don't want to mention that. Evening, Jay, aka Colin Frey, and evening, my bro, James. Kieran, don't mention, please. Des will be on. We know Des likes to talk loads and loads and loads. He's been on it for like half an hour. So please, people, don't mention it to Des because Des will be on it. But Des, behave yourself. All right, Des? Says it all. As well, how you doing, Chapo? As well. Des late again, yes, as always. No negative, only positive thoughts, please. Yes, Paul. Definitely positive thoughts. Good evening, lads. Wow, we see Fox the Fox. How you doing, Dave? How are you doing, Fox? And we've got the Greek lads. Oi, Mr. Dore. Hi, shout out to Gate 7 International. They are the Olympiacos channel as well. I wasn't on the channel as well. Dave went on their channel to talk about Forest. They are a little sister. They are a little sister club. So shout out to Gate 7 International as well. Right. Well, last but not least, and Gary as well. Good evening, lads. Here's to a good show. It is a good show. Like I said, there's a lot to talk about. And we're back again in the Premier League on Monday. It's been, like I said, I don't know. It's a tough one to say. Like I said, this is a game that people are thinking if Leicester or if one of the teams lose, one of the managers will get sacked. We've had a nice Forest had a good break. We've got Leicester on Monday. How are you feeling about this game?
I can't wait for it to come round. To be honest, it seems like it's been forever, and the season so far seems to be a little bit stop-start, doesn't it? You know, as much as you want a game after you've won, another game after you've won to go again. You know, I feel right now Forest just need more games, more game time in the Premier League, adjusting to it. You know, we need to be quickly back in it. So I'm really looking forward to us playing. Of course, Leicester's struggling, so it gives us an opportunity. But as it's proved in the last couple of games, it is only an opportunity because there's no gimmies, there's no easy 3 points. I do think we've got a real chance. Defensively, Leicester are extremely poor, you know, and it appears that the legs are running out up front as well in terms of Vardy and what they've got there. So it just seems like they're an ageing team. I think they're going to struggle all season. I'll put it out there now. I think Forest are going to struggle all season. We'd all snap your hand off for 17th. But I think this just gives us an opportunity. Before we get into real tactics and things like that, I think what we have to do is find a way just to pepper their goal. You know, start on the front foot, a bit like the West Ham game and the Tottenham games at home, really get in it, make it a cup tie. I guess, like when we played at the City Ground, I think it was really important to get at that defence early. And we've seen from the cup tie at home last season, a different game, different kettle of fish, but we've seen we could score quick goals. And we've seen other teams do it. And they've had a worse start to the season than us. So it's a massive game. We touched on Cooper and Brendan Rodgers and the possibility that one might go or both might go if it's a 0-0 draw. You never know. I don't think it'll be the case yet. I know there's been a lot said about that. I think Rodgers might. I'm not sure Cooper will. I know there's a lot of sort of euphoria. I can't think of the word right now. A lot of spouting off about the manager. I don't think it's quite at that point yet, but only time will tell. Definitely looking forward to it. And of course, whatever anyone says about them not being rivals, they are rivals. You know, because
no, they're not. Don't pick him up, man.
Picking them up, I just don't like losing to them because I see them as the poor relation rival.
They are.
They're absolutely haters, so I don't like losing to them. Rival is good. You know, we need more of it. So looking forward to the hostile reception we're going to get on Monday.
I think last time I went to Leicester, I should bring it up. I think we lost. I think it was 5-0 under. I think it was Steve Cottrell. Steve Cottrell lost 5-0, and I'm looking forward to going to. I always call it Filbert Street. What's it called? Is it King Power Stadium? That's it.
Yeah.
King Stadium, is it? King Prawn Stadium.
King Prawn Stadium, and that's what it is.
It'd be Shit Power Stadium.
Next up, Jay, like I said, it's a massive game for us on Monday, and there's touched on it. Like I said, Cooper and Rodgers are under pressure, and I said to our Leicester podcast, Steve Cooper he's under pressure, but Rodgers is more under pressure on Monday. So, what's your thoughts about the game?
Well, for one, I don't think Cooper's actually under as much pressure as some of the media make him out to be. I think that, you know, obviously he's come off a really bad few games. Do you know what I mean? There's things that I think could have been changed that would have made a difference, things you could have done differently from the start, to be completely honest. But that's just hurdles you overcome as a manager. And I think he's been fairly flawless over the last year, to be honest. So it's been a bad run, but that's just how it is. But massive game. It's entirely winnable. You look at how many goals they've let in. I mean, we can definitely exploit that. I think if you're going to play someone like a Wanye, you can maybe even have Surridge there. It's up to you. As long as you've got a number 9 on the pitch, we can make it happen. I think I saw a stat saying there was I think Awanie's 2 goals come from 3 starts. So you've got to start him, I think. And I think, just as a whole, you've got Mangala coming back, Niakate coming back. Obviously, I don't know what the situation with Gibbs White is because, I've not seen him in training. I don't know if anybody else has, but I think we can get the 3 points, to be honest. I think we can get the 3 points. But a question I would ask you is, do you think we can do it with the formation we've got now? How do you feel about that? Because I'm still looking at the idea back 4, maybe a 4-3-3, 4-3-2-1. I don't know how 4-2-3-1, whatever. How are you feeling about that?
People in the comments, what do you think the formation we could play? Like, I know everyone's touching about the formation is not working, blah blah blah. So people in the comments, what do you think? I don't know, Jay. That's the thing. I think I'll say something later in the show, but it's difficult. Everyone's
it's a discussion point of its own, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a weird discussion point that we can talk about. But James? James, answer. What? Like the pressure's on. Do you think Cooper needs to change it up, or anything? What's your thoughts on it on Monday's game?
I'd say. I mean, people might hate me for saying it. I'd stick with what he's doing, with the players he's playing at the moment. But maybe early on, and obviously in the second half, change the players earlier than normal. Because obviously we don't want to go back into there again. Maybe we'll win it 1-0 up on half time. We don't want to be coming in second half and buggering up when they get a few in. We don't want that. So I do think Cooper needs to start subbing a bit earlier than he normally does. You know what I mean? I just think he's a good. Obviously, we all know Steve Cooper is a good manager. He knows what he's doing. I mean, I just think he needs to start subbing more quicker than normal. At least do something quicker. But other than that, yeah, it's an hard one. With Leicester at the moment being a bit rubbish, and we can't really say anything, can we? Because we're not doing great either. So it's going to be putting both teams together, and the best one wins. That's it. But as long as Cooper puts out the strongest teams, like I've got a load of them down, like Jesse Lingard, obviously Mulgrews, but obviously we don't know what's going off. But Brennan Johnson, all that, Sam Surridge, there's a few you can put in there that will at least get us a few goals in. But it just depends on what he wants to do. That's my thoughts anyway.
Before I go to the panel again, I was looking for the comments as well. And like I said, we're talking about, like I said, it's a massive game on Monday, and what's people's thoughts about the game. It's a massive game. I think that Leicester, as we know, it's been documented. They're not the bottom of the league, 1 point as well. I think the last game was at Spurs. I think they played well first half, then they crumbled like we do. So it is a massive, massive game. Right, we'll go for the comments as well. And Andrew says 4-3-2-1 as well. Like I said, everyone's been talking about go back to the 4 formation. Jay says Forest will score Monday. What can we defend? Leicester been never our rivals. That's another. Like I said, I seen there are our rivals, but Derby will always be our main rivals. This is from Mark Aldridge as well. Excited to be going Leicester Monday. I see goals. With Forest winning 3-2. Saturday, I'm reminding myself of what left the trip and stopover at Sunderland Preston as well. I know Des is going to a different game on Saturday as well, aren't you, Des?
I'm going to a game. I'm going to watch some real football again.
You sad person. Where are you going?
I'm going to AFC Wimbledon versus Colchester to get a football fix.
Are you going to the games on Saturday?
I don't know. I'm managing my Saturday league team, so have a bit of Attenborough Colts. Come on, people, let's have it. Come on.
That's great. Come on. James, what about you? Are you going to the games on Saturday?
No.
Yeah, you keep it. You keep it. Just don't go to don't be a groundhog like Des. Didn't mean that, Des. Or don't hit me. I'm still going through comments as well. And we are going to mention this guy, like Gates, one of your best signings, but is he best fit in free midfield? Need Muscle next to him and let him be Oshte, stick Mangala and Brian around him. Bench Lingard. Ooh, that's a tough one as well. Like,
So true.
really?
Yeah, I think so. For me, I think you need to have creativity from the start. And to be honest, when we had, who was it? It was Yates and Freuler. I just don't think Yates and Freuler worked together that well, particularly. To be completely honest, I think that'd be a great midfield three.
It didn't work
Be good.
at all. I want to go through the comments as well. This one, Georgia, 2 for life. Forest have to play free midfield, as I just mentioned, in the opposition. I said this when we beat you in the first game of the season. 100%. Like when we was 1-0 up against Fulham, like I said, I didn't watch the Bournemouth game because we was at a wedding. No, don't want to mention we got married and all that. But yeah, thank God we didn't go to that game because it was awful. But yeah, everyone's mentioned we play that 4-3 formation. People in the comments, do you agree? That's what we'll talk about later on the show. For Jeff, hi Dor from Knots Boy from Austria. How are you doing? Gary Marriott, 4-3 formation, action man in midfield. Definitely for that, Gary. Another one, Ricky, subs need at least half an hour to make an impact. 100%. I think but to be fair, I think he did. Like I said, when we conceded that the third goal against Fulham, he made the sub quick. Like a Brian come on, a Warren come on. So maybe we could play that extra midfielder as well. People who ask if you are, there's 122 people. If you are new to a channel, please do hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and comment below, people. If there's anything that you'll discuss about Forest. Premier League's back, but we didn't play till Monday. So we've got players who still come back from international duty, got like a little bit of rest from that game. Let's talk about, like I said, it's been a discussion on Twitter about who should we play, who should we drop. That game against Fulham, everyone's talking about. We've got to talk about Lewis O'Brien. He come on, fantastic for us. In your mind, Des, like I said, everyone get in the comments, get involved. What players would you drop, and what players would you bring in? And we'll tell everyone as well.
Wow, that's a big question, isn't it?
A big question.
Of course, the big talk is about the formation, isn't it? Jamie's already alluded to it. I don't think it's quite as straightforward as people think it is with the 4-3-3 or whatever variation, because those defenders that have been playing would have to play absolutely out of their skin to make that work. The reason you play 3 at the back is because you've probably not got trust in a 4, in a back 4, flat back 4. I think it would bring a little bit more out the full-backs. On the flip side to that, you know, that I think Loggy has been a bit not found out, but caught out, you know, a few times, probably going a bit too far forward. That's his game as well, but he's almost been sort of against Fulham. It was all coming inside him and outside Nico Williams. So they've been caught out. So I think it might just settle them down a little bit if they know where they're playing and it's a back 4. But I think that it's key to get the centre-backs right. Of course, Niakate is a massive one. Against a team like Leicester, who tend to play sort of one up front, one behind, 2 wide, I think the 4-4-2 might be really effective. But I don't think it's necessarily going to be the answer in every game with the defenders we've got. We're lacking pace. You know, that's obvious. I was hoping for it was his first game, to be honest. I was hoping Bolly would come in and make more of an impact, but he seemed to tire very quickly, and he kind of went a bit pear-shaped in that sense as well. Niakate is the one I'd love to see back in there. He roughed up Antonio. You know, he did okay against Newcastle. I think to get him against a Vardy or whoever's going to play up there in Iacho or whoever they go for, I think it'd be important to have him in. And then perhaps Joe, because what I saw from Joe...
Did you miss him? Do you think we missed him against Fulham?
Absolutely. And I was probably in the camp of he needs a rest, it's catching up with him. But I realised how much we missed him as well. You know, when he come on, the formation changed. O'Brien come on at a very similar time. It all changed in that sense. O'Brien became the driving force, and it probably released a bit of pressure. But that I'd play Joe because I think he's probably as good as what we've got back there, and people are taking him a little bit for granted. Trying to find people to blame who've been around the club a long time and say they're not good enough. I think some of the players, like Joe and like Brennan Johnson, are still some of our better players. And I really believe that. That obviously, of course, what I said about O'Brien in the Fulham game coming on, making the difference. We're all calling for that one. It's a bit of a, God forbid any of us question Steve Cooper, but none of us are quite getting that one. You know, I don't quite get that. I didn't see, everybody's shouting this week for Foyer. I didn't see too much from him. For me, he was 20 yards too deep. It was 20 yards too deep, and it was creating a massive gap up to the front players. So when you're talking about Lingard and Gibbs-White and these players not being involved, that was the gap in the midfield for me. That was what was really striking. Yates is that defensive type player who will bomb forward at times, but it didn't work in that midfield. Mangala's the other one we all want back. Mangala and Karte, I feel their impact so far has been a little bit overhyped because we've been poor, especially in the last couple of games while they've not been there. But what we've seen, we can only take the positives from. We can only take the good stuff. And Mangala against Everton was fantastic. He had a rocky first 5 minutes against Everton, against Iwobi. And then he had him in his back pocket. So I think if you get O'Brien in there, who's going to be that busy player. The one thing about Fulham, for all their exuberance and the way they ping the ball around, their best player on the pitch was Alison Reed. And he's in the mould of Lewis O'Brien. He was absolutely fantastic. He pulled all the strings. And I'd like to see O'Brien in there busy and Mangala almost pulling the strings like he did against Everton. And I think that brings everybody a little bit closer together, you know, on the pitch, because it just seems like everything's too spread out all of a sudden and too far apart. So with that, against Leicester, against a team that struggled defensively, I'd like to see us be a much more attacking threat. I'd like to see Gibbs White. I'd like to see a one-you play, you know, because they can't defend. They can't defend set pieces. You know, they're absolutely shocking at the back. And that stems all the way back from last season. That's not a one-off. That's not a period. Leicester cannot defend a set piece. So I'd almost like to see Brennan drop a little bit wider as well.
That's what I was about to say. I was about to say that as well. Like I said, I'm trying to put in Des. We know that the strikers like Tabaroni, Brennan, Sturridge, you mentioned Gibbs White, Lingard, they're not firing all cylinders. But I watched Brennan, and Jay will say this, I'll say it in a minute now. But there's you just mentioned, would you want Brennan more as a winger? Because he's more effective as running with the ball.
I'm not sure I'd have him as an out-and-out winger, but I'd like him to drop into positions and down the channels and win corners, you know, because he is that man who can. Nobody does it in the modern game. Leicester have got two players that do it in Harvey Barnes and Albrighton and people like that, you know. But he gets what Brennan does. When he's on song, he gets to that byline and he gets the ball across. Or the fullbacks get to that byline and we get a ball across. So, again, I think it's important for him to get wide, get the ball in. You know, if we've got a one-year in there, I'm not saying he's the finished article and he's going to power anything in or do what he needs to do. But we've got to give ourselves that opportunity. Leicester 6s and 7s, we've got to pull them apart a little bit. So get those players wide, get the balls into a one-year, perhaps Morgan Gibbs White if he's fit, running in, you know, like he used to for Sheffield United, like the player we saw last year, especially late on in the playoff campaign. I'd like to see that kind of sort of that sort of formation. I've not nailed it there in who I've said should play, but I'd like to see us almost solidify the midfield, get players wide, win a lot of corners, get Nico crossing, you know, again, he does that anyway. I mentioned in one show previously that he tends to cross the ball high, and as opposed to Spence, who got to the byline in the way I just spoke, a bit of a mixture of the two, because again, Leicester can't defend, can they? They can't mark. They do this zonal thing, which really isn't working. If we think we've got problems at the back, they've got real problems. So that's how I'd almost like us to line up without nailing a 1 to 11 in many ways.
Jay, like I said, as people know, Jay is wearing the Wales hat because he went to watch Wales game. He's an absolute disgrace. You went to the game against Belgium. Brennan Johnson, like I said, I saw the game as well. Do you think he's better as a winger? Because, like I said, let's keep it real. He scored 20 goals last season. He scored 2 goals. I think he could have scored more. But what's your opinion on Brennan? Do you think he's better as a winger, or do you think he should be as a number 9? People, like as well, people in the comments as well, get involved. Right, Brennan, like I said, he made that second goal against Fulham, and because attacking someone. So, what's your opinion on it, Jay?
I mean, to be honest, I think yes, and I think he'd do better in a Forest squad on the wing than he would in a Wales squad, because I think, you can look at some of the Wales midfielders. These guys aren't, some of the. I mean, like with Belgium, they have, De Bruyne, they've got Carrasco and Hazard. With Wales, they've got players that are really, really good, but they're not at some, massive, big clubs. Obviously Gareth Bale's there, but when he wasn't on, there was still good delivery to Brennan, and even when there wasn't, Brennan just went and ran with it anyway. So when he was on the wing, I thought he really got to use his pace. He was running rings around Carrasco, Vertonghen, and Witsel. They had no chance against him. And I don't think that's something really you see often at Forest. You don't really get that chance to use that pace quite as well. And if you can't tell me that assist to Keith Moore wasn't one of the best you've seen, ever, bear in mind for a Forest player or Brennan Johnson, it was fantastic. Everything about it was perfect. It was just a small dink, and it just glided in perfectly. So yeah, for me, I think on the wing you can use that pace, you can use that skill, and he's got a really good eye for an assist, and there's no doubt that he'll go and find himself a goal as well on the way. So for me, I just think he has to play wide. He has to play wide. I just think it suits him so much better. It was honestly against Belgium, I just thought, I've not seen this since last season, and I know why now, and I knew before really, because I think people jump into the conclusion of he doesn't care and all this. I just think that's ridiculous. But he's
a target, and this is the thing said. And before, like I said, I'm going to get James on this. And I've been criticised not saying anything about Brennan. Like I said, people use him, and I'll mention him, Yatesy and Morrow. They're easy target because they pick their academy players, and that's why. But yeah, we brought in 22 players. If someone's not playing good, I criticise them. Ryan Yates wasn't good. Wasn't great against Fulham. I criticise him, but I was more on Fuller because we didn't see him at the game. So if people moan about me not criticising the academy players or whatever, I do criticise players. You just need to listen to what I'm trying to say. But
So sorry, Dor, just on the Brennan Johnson thing, I think an important thing to remember is he is going to have to be utilised in different variations of an attacking player, because there's going to be games in the Premier League where we don't have the ball very much. So to stick him out on the wing, you're just going to lose him. In games like the Tottenham game, where we actually come out of the game with so much praise from the pundits saying he led the line, he looks like a superstar. When he did in very small flashes with Morgan Gibbs White and Lingard, when they did link up, they looked brilliant. So people have got to understand that it's almost a horse for a course. In this game against Leicester, like Jamie's been talking about, he's got a bit of form on the wing. Put him out there, because we need to be getting crosses in. We need to be doing something. But don't have a go at him if the goals don't necessarily come every week, or he's not done it. And that's what you're saying about Yates and Worrell and people like that.
100%. James, we talk about a player. Like I said, we signed him. We talk about Jesse Lingard. He's not been great. He's not been as we know. He's a great player, Jesse Lingard. He just hasn't started with Forest. I listened to, I think it was Rio Ferdinand said if Jesse Lingard if Jesse starts, he gets more of the ball, Forest win. And people in the comments, like I said, he's not. I think he was on the bench. Was he on the bench against Fulham? I think it was. Yes, he was.
Yeah.
James, would you start Jesse Lingard against Leicester? And people in the comments, would you start him as well? James, what would you bring him in? because I think Morgan Gibbs-White. I think we didn't see him in any pictures today in training. Might be out, but would you start Jesse Lingard against Leicester, James?
Yeah, to be fair, I mean, like I say, with Jesse Lingard, I have looked on YouTube and done a lot of watching video of the club he was in, and he's a really good class player, isn't he? He does strike pretty well. He's got a good kick on him. I'd start him. I don't know what else to say really, but all I know with what I've watched is his power and his pace, and he scores really good quality goals. So you bring him in, and hopefully he does score a goal. Yeah, I'd say bring him in. Really, to be fair, he is decent. He is. How many did he score last month? Not last month, last season. For whoever he was with Man U.
He scored quite a few.
I think what James is getting to there, he's almost an opportunist striker, isn't he? You know, so Lingard might not necessarily dominate you a game, but he's got that burst of pace. When he played for West Ham, you know, nobody expected him to do what he did, but he can score from 25 yards.
Yeah.
Burst in the box, he can do something a bit different. All we're asking for at Forest is we just need a little bit more. Do you know?
He needs to show more. If
I'm still really glad we signed him. I think it's a good signing, you know, but we need that little bit more. We need to see something. Attackers always get flack when we're getting beat, you know, because they didn't do their job, just like the defence isn't doing their job. It's hard sometimes, and I just think, again, we need games, we need game pace, match fitness almost, you know, get these players up to scratch, and you might see a difference.
100%. Half an hour's in, people. Like I said, if you are new to the channel, please do hit the like button if you can. I don't know what likes I'm on 32 likes. If you can, hit the like button. If you can get me to 50 likes, please do. Subscribe to Mr. Do Daily. Subscribe to Mr. Media Man. It says Jay Martin, but he is a media man as well. James got a YouTube channel as well, so make sure everyone, the links in the description, everyone, make sure everyone subscribes to all the channels. Right, before we talk next subject, I've got a birthday shout out as well. So I wanted to give a birthday shout out to a guy who I was messaged by Tom himself. Is it Abby? His birthday is tomorrow, so happy birthday tomorrow. Like I said, shout out to Tom. He does watch my channel as well, so it's his birthday tomorrow. So happy birthday tomorrow to you, and have a great day. And make sure your dad's got deep pockets, so he buys everything for you as well. And hopefully I can see you at a Forest game as well. So happy birthday to tomorrow, Abby. As well, people, I've got a cartoon top. I've got one for Des. I brought Des an extra large, so because he has got a big head. So I thought I'll get one, Des. Well, so people, if you do want to get a Forest, look, see this, everyone. If you want one, go on Twitter, and it's called NFC Cartoons. So if you can, people, get a Forest as well. And last but not least, a good friend of mine got me a Forest one. So if you can't see that, you can see it, people. I was there at Wembley. It's a nice certificate from me as well. I will put it. I have put the link in my Instagram as well. So people, if you do want a nice as well, please do. So yeah. So people, like I said, if you do, message me on Instagram or Facebook, Twitter, and I'll get you like a certificate for being at Wembley. Right, people. Like I said, it's half an hour's gone through. The topic, like I said, I'm gonna ask you, Jay. And it's another topic, a big topic. Like I said, it's a massive game. We're having this little debate about our Leicester, our rivals, and everyone talks about Derby, Leicester. I speak to quite a lot of Leicester fans tagging me, "Oh, can't wait to see Forest," blah blah, and I respond to him, "Okay." Oh, they and people in the comments as well, get involved, man. And I'll get Des and James's opinion on it. Are Leicester our rivals?
For me, I don't. I mean, I've only known one rival for Forest in my lifetime, and that's been Derby. So I reserve my rivalry and my hatred for Derby, to be completely honest. You know, I mean, look, I think Leicester, the fans obviously don't like us. We don't like them. Obviously, they were throwing chairs and everything, and it was a little bit aggressive. It was a bit tasty, wasn't it, during that match? But to be completely honest, we're in the Premier League, so you know, we're a team I don't like probably the most in the Premier League. But no, I wouldn't call it a rivalry. Derby's our rivals, but Leicester's just probably the most hated team in the Prem for me. But not a rival, not a rival.
James, are
No.
Leicester City our rivals?
No, not well. In one way, a friend of mine, obviously mine, because obviously I live in Leicester. He's a big Leicester fan. So other than him, no, they're not rivals. But because we're friends, it's just a rival between me and him. Other than that, no, it's just Derby that are our rivals. That's it. End of.
Last but not least, I know Des going to have a little say about this. Are Leicester our rivals, Des?
Absolutely. These guys are too
Always one.
If you're at the game on Monday, right, you will see that there's rivalry. There's hatred between the two. You know, it doesn't just because Derby are bigger rivals, which I totally accept. You know, these are big rivals, like Sheffield United. They're rivals as well. You know, people.
Hold on a minute. I've just thought. Sorry, mate. I've just thought. You know, with it clicking on here, just bear with me. With Derby being a sheep and a fox has been a fox, is that the reason why they're saying we're the rivals and whatever?
I've not got a clue what you're on about, James. What the hell?
You know, sheep shaggers and all that.
He's had a partridge. He's had a partridge.
You've had a partridge there before. I haven't got a clue what he just said, but yes, I just see it like.
When we're in the stadium on Monday, you will see it. They absolutely hate us far more than we hate them. That is it. That's like Notts County. You know, it's just that bitterness, that horribleness because we were successful and they were rubbish for years and years and years. But again, it boils down to that thing. When they're in there, you know, it's hatred. I hate losing to them because because they're so mardy about Forest. I don't want to lose to them because I want to rub it in the faces because they think they've won the Premier League. You know, they've done well, to be fair, but they think this I'm mighty, and at the end of the day, they're the third biggest club in the East Midlands, and they always will be. It's as simple as that.
I see, like, if like this, but I don't like James or Jay will know. Like, me and Des might know. Like, we hated. This is what the older generation say. Back in the day, we hated Leicester. We hated Leicester. I think it was the 60s or 70s, and then because of Brian Clough, we hated Derby. So, me personally, I just see Leicester. They are a rival, but it's just like. If I was on an argument with a Derby fan, and I saw a Leicester fan cross the road, and they wanted to join in, I'll just say this is our argument. There's no if you can join in, but we'll take no notes of you. So Leicester fans, me personally, I'm just you're famous for what? Gary Lineker, Walker's Chris, or
someone says there, that hating a team doesn't make them a rival. What does? You know, that's probably the biggest thing. That's probably the biggest thing, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, it's the hostility and everything that comes with it. You know, when you play, the problem a lot of people don't think is because they've got very short memories. Back in the Premier League, I went to Filbert Street. It was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. They're throwing things, and I was a kid and I was getting kicked outside the ground. You know, all these little things all add up, don't they? And I just think it's because it's been so long. But wait for it. Wait and see it. You know, especially in a relegation battle as it is. You know, it won't be a pleasant place to be.
Dor, you're gonna have to hold Des back. I think he's gonna try and get his revenge here. You've got to be holding him back now.
Yeah, I am. Des, just chill out, mate. It's okay. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
We're all right if we win.
Like the people, it's 40 minutes gone. Like I said, it was 128 people in. If you can, do a massive favor for me, hit the like button if you can. Subscribe, you know, make sure everyone subscribes to everyone's channels as well. We're gonna go back to Steve Cooper, and like I said, and this time last year, or was it like this time last year? Yeah, this time last year, we beat Barnsley, and everyone knows the whole story. That's why we're here in Premier League. Fantastic, and me personally, as I said, it's been a massive debate of Steve Cooper. People want him to stay. People want to leave. I'm not saying everyone wants to leave. It's about 5 or 10% Forest fans want him to leave. But let me ask you, GA. Like Steve Cooper, like he's under pressure. He's really under pressure, and all is like I said. Me personally, I want him to stay. Of what he's done, I want him to stay at Forest for the whole season and whatever happens. But what people in the comments, what do you think? If we lose to Leicester, do you want him gone? It's something that I am going to talk about. I'm not going to try to keep being nice about it. But Jay, what's your opinion on that?
I think if you sack him now, you revert back to the last 23 years. Because for me, I think, okay, there's things that could be changing. I think he's probably looking at that, and you look in his press conferences and stuff, he's saying that's on me. Do you know what I mean? And and people that are saying the whole, oh yeah, but what about the gelling excuse? I don't think actually in the last few losses I've actually heard Steve Cooper say, oh well, it's down to the gelling. He said this is my fault and it starts with me. Do you know what I mean? So this is what I think about it. I think if we get rid of Cooper now, you know, we can kiss goodbye to the Premier League, and you can kiss goodbye to, you know, more hope of coming back up if we were to get relegated without him. You know, so I don't tend to agree with a lot of things Simon Jordan says, and I don't want to think about relegation, because I do think we will stay up, and I'm still hopeful for it, and I think we can. You know, but I think Simon Jordan was right when he said if Forest are going to get relegated, which obviously, you know, touch wood they don't, I'd rather go down with Steve Cooper. That's just how it would be for me. This is a project. This is going to be a long project, 5, 6, 7 years. You could call it a decade. I don't care how long it is. This is a project to build up the club. And it's more than about one season. Do you know what I mean? This season in the Premier League, this is the beginning of something massive. Stadium redevelopments, you know, the city could get a massive financial boost. The team's going to change so much, and everything's going to change around the club. So I think we've got to stick with him. I think we've got to keep the ethos we've got now. And I think getting rid of him now would be an awful decision to make. I think it'd be ridiculously bad.
100%. Before I get there, I got a super chat from the man himself, Forest Dan. Thank you for £2, Forest Dan. Premier League, Leicester or Premier League rivals like Southampton? Yeah. They are rivals. They are our rivals, Leicester. But that team in League One are more the rival side. But here's what it is. Jay just said about you want, like I said, I think Jay's spot on, because if you look at it right, I remember Burnley did it with Dyche. Norwich had done it. Norwich did it 3 or 4 times with who was their manager? It was Faulkner, I think it was. I don't know if Fulham's did it. What do you say? Do you agree with Jay? There's about keep Cooper if we do go down, and then we can, because he's got. Let's be real. He's got the experience in the Championship. He knows what to do. What's your opinion on it, Des? And people in the comments as well, get involved.
It was suicidal. It was ridiculous. Because if Forest had not got promoted in the playoffs and they'd started the Championship well, and Leicester sacked Brendan Rodgers, where would the first place they'd go for a manager be? Who would they go and look for? For somebody who took a team out the shit, you know, out of the worst place they could possibly be this time last season, and got them promoted unexpectedly against all the odds. You know, it has come too soon. Let's not make no bones about it. It's all come a bit too soon now, and the preparation probably wasn't quite as good as it should be for the Premier League. But to sack him now would just be ridiculous, because it's everything, isn't it? It's everything he put back into Forest, the pride, the sense of belonging, things like that. And I know that's not everything. Ultimately, it's about results, and it's been a big thing this summer. Sentimentality's gone out the window and all these things with players. So I believe it can with a manager as well. But the reality is, it would just be suicidal on the owner's part, because if he's not there, I think they go down without a shadow of a doubt. I think they've got a chance with him there. And the reason I think they go down is because if they sacked him and it goes on for another 2 or 3 games, we're back to 20,000 in the City Ground, a hostile atmosphere, horrible social media. It's already brewing, isn't it? You know, I got used in it myself yesterday.
Listen to me. Listen to me. I don't want to be cancelled on YouTube because of you being angry. So if I wasn't angry. I was making a point and somebody misunderstood it. Anyway, move on. We'll talk about it later. You know what? I'll say it later on. Des, be quiet. I'll say it later on. Carry on, Des.
But Cooper is just. He is what Forest is right now. You know, it's because of him. It's not because of Dave Murphy. It's not because of Marinakis. You know, the reason we're in the Premier League is because he worked his magic with the tools he had on a football pitch. He got 1 or 2 players in January, you know, which reinforced what he could do. But he's proved in the Championship. And I thought it was Sheffield United when they got relegated and sacked Chris Wilder. Every team in the Championship wanted Chris Wilder. Jamie made this point, you know. Every team in the Championship and Brighton in the Premier League apparently was sniffing around him. Any team in the bottom 6 who's going to sack the manager before the World Cup is going to think, oh, Cooper might be an option, and he's under pressure at Forest. So I don't think he is under that pressure. I started the show by saying that. Jamie said that as well. We don't. It's easy to say, isn't it? One thing that doesn't help is a hostile environment, and I've seen it brewing in the Fulham game and the things we've mentioned. And I think we've just got to stick with it. We all said it doesn't matter what it takes. We want to be in the Premier League. We want a shot at it. So again, without getting into sort of rallying cries and things like that, get behind him, get behind the team. You know, if he sacks him, there's not much we can do, is there? But I tell you, if they do sack him, people will vote with their feet, and you'll see a half-empty stadium yet again.
Can I add as well, Dor? Actually, I just want to add as well.
Yeah,
if you do sack this manager, where are you going to? You know, people are talking about like Tuchel and Pochettino. I mean, I think that's crazy. These guys have worked at some of the biggest clubs in the world, and this is in no disrespect to us because we've got the potential to go and do great things, which is why I was talking about the project. Do you know what I mean? The project was never just staying in the Premier League; it's advancing, and I'm sure the owner feels the same way with investing the money that they have. But if you sack Cooper at, let's say, Christmas, for example, what manager is going to want to take on a team that isn't likely to spend much money in January, if any? You know, they've got however many players that they have no clue about and don't really know how to use, from what I would assume, you know, and they're going to have a team that's going to be massively demotivated and a team that's likely to go down to the Championship. You're not going to get any of these big managers that people are talking about or managers that you'd really need. I just think we've got to realise as a club where we actually are now, because I think we're jumping the gun sometimes. I think at the start of the season when we beat West Ham, people were saying top 10, we've got it in the bag just like that. And people were being serious about this. I mean, as a club, we've got to be humble and we've got to realise where we are. It's great the history we've got and it's great the things that we've won. But, you know, and we can do it again. We can do it again. But we've got to have the attitude of the fact that we're not, you know, Man City. We're not Liverpool or Barcelona or Real Madrid. You know, this has got to be something that takes time, and we've got to be humble in the way that we conduct ourselves as a club, you know, and don't jump the gun with games. You know what I mean? Like if we do win a game, we've just got to have the same mentality of, come on, let's go and do it again. Not, oh, well, let's just sit back now. We're going to do everything. You know, there's a lot more to it. I just think we've got to be careful with our attitude, you know, as a club and also a fan base.
James, what do you echo what Jay and Des says?
I completely agree with both, mate. If we sack Cooper now, we're going to be welcoming the Championship again. If we keep him, we're going to be going up. I'm telling you now, we'll go up. If we just get rid of him and just say, yeah, that's it, we're done with him. Maybe, I mean, if down the line, if obviously things do keep going as they are, then fair enough, we'll look into a different perspective. But right now, keep him, go up.
I'm going to go through the comments, and I saw a comment. Where was it? And I'm not. I saw some comments, negative comments, and I'm not digging you out. I'm just replying to what you're saying. Cooper should do better with almost 200 million he spent. Mickey, but he's got a whole squad of players. First time he's dealing with, and it takes time. Like I said, we all Forest fans know. If we all Forest fans expect, we're going to win every single game with the players that we brought. It's not going to happen. Win the Premier League. The Man City game said it all. And I understand people's frustration about the game with Fulham and Bournemouth. I get it. I'm saying get it. We should be winning games. But they've got Premier League experience. They've been in top flight before. So I get it. I understand. But it's frustrating with Cooper. Doesn't know his best team. And I'm just going to ask you, who should I go to? I'm going to ask you, Jay. Like I said, this game's massive, and everyone's talking about Mangala, Nekate. Do we need these players for this game on Monday? Because it is massive, and I've seen Fuller. He scored a goal in the international break. What do you really think Mangala is the man to be back? Should be back for the game against Leicester?
Yeah, I mean 100%. I mean, the 3 games I think we had near Cartier Mangala. I think they both were off after West Ham, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was anyway. In those 3 games, you got 4 points, and since they've been injured, we've got none. Now, I'm not saying it's just down to those 2 not being there, because obviously there's 9 other players in the squad, but obviously they've made an impact. You've played West Ham, who yes aren't doing absolutely fantastically, and are in that bottom kind of region, but they've still got a really good team and a team that could have, scored a couple of goals and stuff. So for me, I just think, I think that they make a massive difference. They were huge in those points that we actually got. I think it'll be great to have them back against Leicester. I just think Mangala's just got such amazing physical attributes. And just how effortless he is, just the ability just to pass a ball from nowhere, and find opportunities is brilliant. So, yeah, definitely need them back, and I think they could be game changers.
Right. Before I say, I'm not going to get everyone's predictions. It's a bit earlier. But let me say something before. Like I said, everyone had an opinion about where Forest was. Everyone had high hopes about it. Where did everyone think Forest was finishing now? Like I said, I'll take 17th now. I'll take 17th, but I know it's early days. Still things could happen. We could do a winning run and that. But let's start with you, James. At this moment in time, where do you think Forest will finish? And people in the comments get involved as well.
Between 12th and 15th, I'll take anything between that. I'm not going to say on the actual thing.
Still confident.
Yeah, I'm still feeling confident about it. Like I say, we just need to get behind the team, get behind Cooper. It's going to happen. It's just, it takes time. That's all. Yeah, between 12th and 15th.
Okay. Jay?
I said from the start, 15th. I've said you can look back at everything I've said, 15th, and I'm going to stick with that. That's what I think we'll get. And that's what I, at this stage, want to get, to be honest. So as long as we can survive and then build it from there, then I'm happy. So 15th for me.
Last one is Des.
If Forest stay up, they'll finish 17th. I don't want to be negative, but they're in trouble. Let's be realistic. This is the problem, isn't it? Jamie touched on it. We need to be realistic about where we are. We are in a dogfight now. We are in a dogfight already. And yes, 3 points in the Premier League is massive. I saw someone comment saying we're 5 points off Newcastle in 10th.
That was Forest Ant.
Absolutely, we are 5 points, and 3 points in the Premier League is absolutely massive. We win on Monday, everything changes. You win 2 games in a row. All of a sudden, you've turned your season around. Like when you lose 3 or 4 on the spin, it turns around. You get 3 results on the spin, you're on an upward curve. But I think right now, we're in real trouble. We have to accept where we are. We have to accept we're going to get some stuffings.
Yep.
For as much as people said they would accept that, they haven't accepted that. We've been beaten by teams that we're expected to lose against, and we don't want to admit that we're going to roll over for them, or we didn't, but you know what I mean. We don't want to give those points away, but the harsh realities come against Bournemouth and Fulham, didn't they? And Fulham, it wasn't the scoreline, it wasn't the nature of the capitulation. I thought in that first half, Fulham were brilliant, so dynamic, so geared up for the Premier League, and Forest just are not that dynamic. Again, I mentioned Foyer. Somebody is saying he's going to be a great player. I hope he is. But what Fulham were doing was ping, 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 ping. Moving that ball around quickly, and that's what every team does. Everton did it. Everton did it against us. Move the ball really quickly. Demore Gray, Rondon, whoever, just movement all the time. And what Forest have become over the last 2 games is a little bit static. And I think that's why I'm talking about taking the game to Leicester, getting balls in, getting Johnson down the wings. You know, just trying to be that little bit more dynamic. Because what I've seen I didn't see the Bournemouth game in full. I've seen bits of it, but what I've seen from that and against Fulham is teams were just finding it very, very easy to play against us, and that means we're in for a long, hard season. I accept that. You know, most people will say I'm being negative and I'm being defeatist. I accept that's where we are, and I'll get behind them and I'll be positive about whatever we can take. But we do have to be realistic on this one.
100%.
We need to close down gaps. Sorry, we need to close down gaps as well. Start closing gaps down, because I've seen a couple of games. I mean, the Fulham and the Bournemouth game. We're giving too many gaps, and we need to get in them gaps, not give them chances. You know what I mean? I have spotted it on a few games.
James, football's about partnerships, and this is the problem with playing four at the back. If we play four at the back, then defenders have got to be in tandem. They've got to be on the same wavelength. So if when Derby got relegated with minus 67 points or whatever, they got 11 points. The two centre backs were so far apart on a different wavelength. So if we do go four, we've got to nail it. The problem by playing narrow is when you play Liverpool and you've got Mo Salah running in off the wing and someone else coming off the other side, you're giving them all the build-up they need to attack you.
Yeah.
4-4-2 thing, but football's about partnerships all over the pitch. I said it earlier, and it's what you're saying there. In midfield, the midfield and the defence, the midfield and the attack. You know, Johnson playing close to a 1-year at times. It's that what creates link play. I've mentioned it already. When we've looked good up front is when Morgan Gibbs White links with Lingard and Johnson, and they play a little triangle when we're away. You know, so football's all about partnerships, and it's getting the right people to work together. It's not necessarily the personnel; it's the right players to work as a team.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, mate. Honestly, I really do agree with you on that one.
Right, before we go, we always mention what partnerships back three, and I'm getting this panel. What back three people in the comments? What get involved? What back three would you have? Like I said, against Fulham, we had Bowyer, Cook, and McKenna. I just don't think it worked. Jay, make it short and sweet. What back three would you have? People in the comments get involved.
So injury free, everybody's available.
Everyone free. Yeah.
I think I'd probably go for McKenna, Niakate, and either Worrell or maybe Biancon. Probably, to be honest.
Okay. James, who would you have back three?
On this department, I'm not too sure on it, so I'm just going to agree with Jay.
Okay.
Honestly, I'll say something earlier on. I don't know stuff like it, so I'll agree
Des?
From what I've seen, I would go for Worrell, Niakate, and McKenna. I have heard good things about this Bode or what's
Bode, the French. He plays right centre back. I think
I've heard very good things about him and that he's got a bit of pace. So potentially him, but I can't comment on that because I've never seen him play football.
Right. I'm going to say my opinion, people, and this might cause a little bit of trouble. And this is my opinion as well, people, but I'm going for it. This is with everyone fit. So I have Joe Worrell as a right side, Bowler in the middle, and Niakate on the left. I've not chosen McKenna. That's my back three.
Well, who do you have in the middle?
Bowler from Wolves.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I think he had a good first half against Fulham. I think he had a good start in 20 minutes.
Me personally, I just don't think
him and Cook. But he went to pieces.
But he was rubbish at the end. Yeah.
No, he went to pieces. But
fitness. It's just fitness.
And this is what I said. Like I said, I've seen people look at the comments with a back four. Like I said, Wolverine, shout out to Wolverine. Back four, Leddy, Niakate, Bowden, and Williams.
Does McKenna deserve to be dropped though? I mean, I know we're all saying bad day, but we've not seen him play for Forest. I don't think McKenna deserves to be dropped for that.
No. And this is the thing. Like I said,
isn't it?
I don't like with McKenna, right? Like I said, he's been fantastic for us. I'm not trying to say, like I said, blame him from the game against Bournemouth because I wasn't there. I wasn't. Like I said, I've seen it on TV and I watched the game back, but I'm not saying drop him. I think when we watched the game against, I think it was Newcastle, when we played Worrell, Nakate, and McKenna. I personally think because Nakate played when he played for, who did he play for in Germany? Who did he play for Germany again?
Mainz.
He played as a left side centre back, as I think a free. So me personally, I just like I said, people don't. It's just my opinion. I just personally think, and again, my opinion, Joe Worrell, Bola, Nakate.
He actually in that Newcastle game, Nakate drifted to that position quite a lot.
Exactly, and that's my point, Des.
I think it led to frustration from Steve Cooper, and that's why he was subbed, because he drifted to that position. But against West Ham, it was a completely different game. Perhaps he took instruction.
I also don't get why people are dropping Williams as well. I've got to say, I think defensively, Nico Williams has been perfect. I mean, I think the one thing that he hasn't been fantastic on, just being honest, is the crossing and things like that. That's why I asked if he's more of a fullback, to be honest. I thought defensively, he's been absolutely brilliant. I really don't see where this criticism is coming from, being dropped for Serge Aurier. Like I don't understand it.
Serge Aurier is a backup, and that's my opinion. I see him as a backup to Nico Williams. Well, that's my opinion, and he's young, fresh, and he, like I said, as Jay said, he just needs to sort out his crossing. But we just hope. We just hope. Right, before we get to the main subject, and I don't know if we should talk about it. I got a super chat from Lenny, £2. Where are we going to get the 3 points from? Leicester City. We'll get the 3 points from Leicester City. I told you here first, but I'll take it. Right, before we do go, and I don't know, we're talking about games, and is it okay to talk about yesterday?
Let me have my say about what.
Okay, right. That's right. So people, like I said before, there was a bit of issues with people going to games, and my friend Gary said something, and I understand what Gary was saying. People took it in a different type of context with how it is. But Des, explain what happened. And
so what happened on Twitter, and we got a massive backlash to it, is Gary put a tweet out about the fact that Brighton tickets didn't go on sale. Didn't sell out very quickly. So he got a bit of a backlash from it. Possibly didn't. I'm sure Gary will admit he didn't possibly use the right words. Knowing Gary as I do, I tried to defend him slightly and ended up getting involved in a conversation. I saw his point, and the point I was trying to make was nobody has to justify going to football. But because somebody had already argued with me, they didn't want to understand my point. So, yes, I was a bit flippant in the end because people question why I do my mental health stuff and why I do this. So I got a bit flippant, and I shouldn't have. I really shouldn't have. But when someone's attacking your character, that's kind of what you do. And I wasn't nasty to anyone. Someone said, be kind. All I did was kept saying, I totally agree. Nobody has to justify going to football. If you can't afford it, if you can't get the time off work, if you can't get the childcare, there's times last season when I missed it for running clubs because that's my bread and butter.
Exactly.
And that's the point I was trying to make. But, Twitter is what it is. And I think it's all a byproduct of Forest aren't in a good place right now, and we move on from it, doesn't it? To get the kind of level of abuse we got was shocking. But I'll take it, I'll take it on my part because I got a bit flippant, I didn't
everyone does. Everyone has a flipping day.
I didn't attack anybody's character. I just put a few flippant tweets out because I was getting attacked. And then there was a complete misunderstanding and lots of people said lots of things.
Right, I'm going to say that. I just saw Gary comment and he says, leave it, mate. But Gary, I'm going to say my say. I'm going to leave for that. If Jay or James want to have an opinion, they can have a say. But let me have my little say about it. The thing is, the thing was right, and Des spot on. If people's got to work, if people's got kids, and if people can't afford it, that's fine, and I fully get it. I understand it. My point, I think what Gary's trying to say, Gary's point was feeling like, if that was a Spurs game on a Tuesday game, people would be going absolutely mad for it. People are going mad if you're Spurs away. I get it, Brighton's far away, 300 miles or whatever it is. I see it as it's Brighton. People just want to, and what Gary said, like I said, in context, he could have said it differently, but at the same time, I understood what Gary said. But people can have football opinions. And when I saw, like I said, people about talking about Desert Channel, what's that got to do with football debate? What's that got to be? It's a football debate. That's what it's about. People.
To know, Dor, I'm going to say it. I saw something out there today saying, get these Z-list of celebrities off the off Forest or whatever. Somebody tweeted, get Des and his mental health and Dor, these Z-listers off. I don't consider myself any lister. You know, exactly. I do something I enjoy doing and I feel I've got a purpose to do. And if people don't like it,
don't watch. Don't watch it.
That might sound harsh, but at the end of the day, going back to the point, Premier League football is bloody expensive, right? I make sacrifices to do it. You make sacrifices. The guys will make sacrifices to do what they do. We all do it in a different way. We're all Forest fans. And I think the reality is just focus on the fact we're in the Premier League and bloody enjoy it.
Exactly. And like I said, Paul, like, we're in the Premier League, and the way I'm going to Brighton. It's a long way. And my point of view, if we play Tottenham away, we weren't behind the discussion. Simple as that. And if people want to give me a backlash from it, I could take it as a man. James, have you got anything to say before we wrap up?
Not really, mate. No, that department I can't really say much because I don't get to games. I just watch it at home. I just cut in my comfort. Obviously, as you all know, I struggle getting to any game due to confidence.
James, like I said, you're a Forest fan.
You're a Forest fan as the rest of us.
Exactly. There's no big difference. Like
I think it's like, say, going back on it all. When we lose a game, everybody just gets defensive and to just take out on each other. It's just not fair. If you've not got nothing nice to say, don't comment. Simple.
Yeah. What have you, Jay? Have you got anything before we wrap up?
I'm not gonna even touch on all the Twitter stuff and all that, because I just try not to really get involved with anything on Twitter now, unless it's something nice and whatever. But I just think, look, we're all part of the same fan base. We're going to disagree on things, and there's going to be people that can't do things. There's going to be people that can do things. That's just how it is. That's just life. You know what I mean? And everybody has their own individual struggles, and some people can do these things. But as long as you're supporting the team, as long as you're kind of trying to motivate the lads as much as you can, and just enjoying yourself, because this is what football's all about. We're not here to fight with each other. We're here to enjoy ourselves. Football was created as an enjoyment thing for people to go out and, even during the war, they were playing football with each other to enjoy themselves. Do you know what I mean? That is what football's all about. That's what the roots of football are. So just enjoy it. Just enjoy it. Don't worry about it. Turn the phones off. Watch the game. Enjoy yourselves, no matter where you're watching from. Just enjoy it and put your Forest shirt on.
What you learn as you get older, guys? You learn to enjoy the good times and not get too disappointed with the bad times, because they always come back round.
Yeah, 100%.
Either way, the good times or the bad times come back round in some way.
Exactly. This is what happens, and that's why if you're on Twitter, be kind, be nice. Don't go personal. If we lose, we lose. If we win, we win. We'll be back to winning ways. Two wins in a row, everyone will be happy. We're still happy. Don't get me wrong, we're still happy because we're in the Premier League. So, and at the start of the season, I don't know who it was, and I think everyone said it. We're going to have more low points than high points, and that's moment in time. It's low, but we're happy. Before, like I said, I saw a nice comment. I'm thinking it was from Dean Townsend. I cannot go to games. I live in Portugal. We all bleed red. 5%, Dean. 1,000%. You live in Portugal, you're a Forest fan, you're still a big Forest fan like all four of us and everyone as well. So we're together. And as well from Adam, we're all in this together regardless. 100% Adam, 100%. And then we'll comment before we go. But yeah, I think that we'll wrap that up. But yeah, thank you for everyone that has took the time, Mr. New Daily, as well. People, like I said, if you can, after stream, go and watch Mr. Daily because he's done a stream before you call him. That's why he was late. This is why Des was late because he was doing his stream.
Working. It's one of them things.
He's working, and that's what I think I work.
Throughout this episode.
Exactly. So like I said, he's got a great channel, Do Daily. Please, if you can, do a massive favor for me as well. He works hard, like I work hard on my channel. Please go and subscribe to Do Daily. Like I said, his link is in the description. Before I get to James as well, I've got a super chat as well from Anthony. Thank you for £2. Thank you, all four of you. Thank you for donating the £2. Andrew, it helps me a lot. Like I said, it helps towards my channel as well, people. It's going to be a long season, and we're going to have goods, we're going to have the bads, but we have this podcast to talk about everything, and just hope you lot enjoy this and talk. Des talks more than me, but it is what it is. I'm not trying to have a little dig at you, Des. I do apologise. As well, next one, we've got Jay. Like I said, he's got a podcast called Medium Man. He's not invited me yet on his channel. Like I said, I've not dodged him. So
hey, that's not true, Dor.
Yeah,
We've had this conversation. You know,
he dodged me. Yeah, I'm not allowed on his channel for whatever reason. But as well, people, make sure everyone subscribe to the Medium Man as well. And last but not least, we've got the man in James. And James, I'm gonna get out there. People in the comments, how do you think James was? Because he was really, really, really shy. I'm gonna get out there. People in the comments, how do you think James was? Because he was really shy. And I've said this so much, regardless, people. Anyone can come on my channel. Anyone. And me personally, I think the lads will agree, Des and Jay, James was brilliant. So James, give a little clap, James, because I think he was great. Exactly. So, and I love people. If you do want to come to the channel, feel free. Message me. Don't message Jay because Des is annoying. And don't even message.
Don't forget to Des, Dor.
Yeah, as well, people. If you can't do this, you can't do it Monday. You can't do it Tuesday. Maybe Wednesday.
I can't do it Monday because there's a football match on.
I know, that's what I said. You can't do it Monday. You can't do it Tuesday. You can't do it Wednesday because you got your pub quiz as well. So he's useless.
What about Tuesday? Back on Tuesday.
No, we can't. I'm doing a review show Tuesday.
There you go, then.
You know what I mean? This is what I call
the week after, I'll be back.
People in the comments, put hashtag Des is a moron. Put that.
People put hashtag get Dor's most popular show back on.
So people, if you can, dial with Des. If you can, people, don't be shy. Get on the show as well. It's good to see. James got those positive comments on it from Eve. James did great. Jordan said, love it, James. Raz Dad as well. Good job, James. Shout out to Raz Dad. I heard your son's channel was going down because someone gave a little bit of criticism on his channel about he does his stuff in his bedroom. Rest in peace, Rads for that. As well, up the Reds, as well from Forest Town. We love you, James, and as well, D Chapel. Well done, James. And as well, see, everyone's giving.
Thank you.
I love it. Everyone's giving praise to James, and no one's giving praise to James.
I'm the best, mate. I'm the best.
this, I'm loving this. No one's giving praise to these. So they don't, maybe they're wearing yellow. Maybe it's just that wearing yellow and not giving no praise. But yeah, it's been a pleasure, everyone. But like I said, if you are new to a channel, make sure you do subscribe. Subscribe to Do Daily. Subscribe to Medium Man. Make sure everyone subscribe to James as well. Well, we all got YouTube channels, so make sure everyone subscribes.
Get me to 100 before Christmas.
Yeah, get into 100 subscribers, people. Get to Des to 1,000 as well, people. You need 1,000 subscribers if you can. Get into 1,000 before the year ends as well. Get me to 10K before the new year, before the end of the year. My next show is on a Sunday night at 9 o'clock with a Leicester fan. Please watch out for that. It's going to be a good show. You know how I feel about Leicester. I don't care about them. People, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for thank you, Des. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, James. I'll see you Sunday, and hopefully Happy days on Monday. Peace and love, people, and up the Reds.
You Reds.